another episode of the Sebi podcast. Myself, Shanisha Cole. We have our guy Sebi here, Sierra Canyon coach Edward. How are you today?
I'm doing well. How about you?
I'm good. We are so happy to have you here. I know we met about a year ago.
Yeah, the Midnight Madness
Midnight Madness
that we had. Yeah, that we had at Sierra Canyon.
Yeah, it was very fun and very cultured. I love what you guys are doing over there with the young men. So we're going to just dive right into it. I want to first start off talking about your basketball career. You went to Cal State Northridge, correct?
Yes, I did. I played there and I graduated there in 2004. So I played there from 2002 to 2004. I transferred from a junior college. I had played at a junior college called Los Angeles City College out here for a coach named Mike Miller, who was like, at that time, like, he's like a legendary coach out here in California. That's not just in California, but just in the country. At that time, he had like sent probably over 100 players in this program to Division I level. So I had played for him for 2 years, and then I had played for Coach Bobby Braswell, who was a great coach, a great mentor for me at that time in my life. So I had the pleasure of playing for him for 2 years, and then graduating from Cal State Northridge.
Did you find yourself just at that age just pulling from the knowledge of these coaches, and that kind of inspired you to become a coach?
To be honest with you, I never thought I would be a coach. Wow. Never in my wildest dream did I ever thought I would be a coach. I only thought about basketball from a player side. So I remember even when my college coach, Bobby Braswell, asked me when I was a senior, did I want to join his staff? And I was looking at him like he was crazy. Like, what? I ain't never coaching. Like, but, you know, as I look back in my life and look back at those times as I was a basketball player, I was a coach essentially because I played the point guard position. So I was always in that kind of like that role, that leadership role, where I was kind of like talking and developing my people skills around with my teammates throughout my whole life, and never knew that, right? Never had any kind of like thoughts that's what I was doing. I just happened to be away from basketball for a couple of years after I graduated, and I kind of just was just missing the game and the love for the game. And so I ended up started training. And so when I started training, that's how I got into being a coach.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Speaking of that, it had me thinking, Ed, every coach has a motive of why they want to be a head coach, right? You know, some people want to be leaders of men. They want to teach these young, mature guys how to be men in their 20s off the hardwood. So what was your motive getting these young kids prepared for the real life?
Oh, man, it's just something that was just like, I looked at my life, right? And I looked at my journey as a basketball player, and I think everybody that was a part of my life, from every high school coach to college coach to AU coach to Pee Wee coach, like I appreciate, because all those coaches played a big part in my life. You know, some way they shaped the man that I am today. So I just wanted to give back. You know, I want to give back to these young men. I want to be able to talk to them and give them game from my experience, through my life experience, and hopefully that could help them, guide them through their life, or maybe they could some kind of teaching lesson, right, that I could get to them, you know, through basketball, through the game of basketball, or just through my personal life, right? So that's one of the main reasons why I got back into basketball, and also just because I love the game and I just want to push the game and help the game grow, right, globally. So if I can help this game grow as much as it can, man, I just want to be a part of that.
You talk about growth. Would you say that growth is kind of connected to how you get these young men prepared for the NBA, or is it more about just kind of building that character and make sure they're functional and have high integrity and just building the core values as young men? Or is Sierra Canyon's goal is to get these young men prepared for the pros?
Oh, well, we don't even think about the pros when it comes to these young men, because they're kids, right? At the end of the day, we're dealing with kids that's 14, 15, 16, and 17. And yes, we know that they're highly like talented, right? At their profession that they play, at the sport that they play, they're like the 1%er. We know that. But at the end of the day, we want to teach them, you know, how to be great men, right? Great leaders in their community, great leaders in their families, great brothers, and great, you know, future husbands and stuff like that. So that's what our main goal is, to just teach them be high characters, right? And be whatever that you guys say, you always going to make sure that you speak something, that's what you're going to do. You always hold your word accountable, right? Because at the end of the day, that's all you have really, right? Like if I tell somebody I'm going to do something, well, then that's what you got to do. So we pretty much focus mainly on just their character, right? Just making sure that they just hold themselves accountable, make sure that they're responsible young men in the community and on campus and with the basketball team. And, that's what we strive for every single day at Sierra Canyon.
You talk about accountability and integrity with your players and your team. Tell me, as a head coach, being able to orchestrate and being the catalyst for these young players that are so talented, what's the challenge getting these guys motivated? Knowing that, you're coaching some of the best isolation high school players and stuff like that. How do you hold them accountable for if they're doing something wrong and to getting the best out of it?
Oh, man. Well, they're kids, right? So every single day, they're learning, right? And especially at this age, a lot of them probably hear some adult voice always telling them to do something, right? Whether it's their parents, whether it's their teachers, their academic advisor, and their coach. So at sometimes, kids just shut off, right? They don't want to hear that stuff sometimes, right? So it's just my job just to be able to read people, right? And have that type of skill, right? To understand like when you're supposed to have a conversation with a kid and when you kind of just like, all right, lay off. Like just let the kid just figure things out, because at the same time, right, you can't hold these kids through their hands, right? They're going to be young adults, so sometimes they have to make their own decision at times, right? And then whatever decision that they make, you're just right there to help them out and guide them, right? Or whatever advice they may need. So for me, it's just more so just being honest with the kids, showing that I love and I care for them, and then at the same time, like I'm always here. Right, you don't always got to come in here and just got to have these serious conversations, but we could laugh, we could joke, and you just know that I'm here for you, period. Like no matter what, I'm always going to be here for you. So I just try to make sure that the kids just know that I care for them. Once they know that I care for them just as a person, not as a basketball player, that goes a long way.
Well, Coach, how do you get the parents kind of to buy in? Because some of your athletes have high profile parents. Do you see your philosophies as sort of when teaching these young men, are they similar? Are you breaking habits? Are you humbling the kids? How do you get them to buy in and actually listen to your direction?
Well, most of those kids that come from someone like, if their fathers have been professionals and played in the league, or they're businessmen now, like they know the discipline. They know the blueprint, so the kids know. And then most of them, I could say all the kids are great kids. They come from a great family. They already have the foundation already set at home. So for me, when they come to me, it's easy. It's real easy. You don't have to get on them about being on time or be over here listening or show up and do the things that you need to do, because they've been taught at an early age from their parents. So it's real easy. It's never something that's hard to deal with that. When it comes to the parents, sorry about that. When it comes to those type of parents, because they already know the discipline, they already know what the time, the commitment that you have to put into to be great at this sport or whatever you decide to do in life, right? That is going to take sacrifice. So from my end, it's not hard at all. Like the parents already buy in. The parents, they stay out of it, to be honest with you. And if they have their own advice when they want to speak, then they speak, and as a coach, you just listen to it, you hear what they're coming from, and then move on. But there's really no problem at all, ever, not one time.
That must make your life easier, for sure, I bet.
Oh, yeah, a whole lot easier, because like the parents are just great. Like they're great to deal with. They try to stay out of it as much as they can, because they understand, like, they want to just be a parent, right? Like they don't want to be the parent, the coach, all these wear these type of hats, because that probably takes out the joy for them too, because they probably just wants to come to the game like normal parents that just watch their kids play, and then after that, go home. Let's have fun when we go home and be a family.
That's right. That should be a parent's dream. Let's talk about the brand of Sierra Canyon. right? You have some of these high-profile high school programs, Mount Verde, Oak Hill, but what's really Sierra Canyon? Give us like the overall body of what Sierra Canyon basketball means to the state of California.
Oh man, I mean, it kind of this one, like, I mean, when Bronny and them came over, Z-Wade came over, it's just took the school to a whole new level with the profile. Like when we had Scottie Pippen Jr. and KJ Martin, like, and Cassius, it was already kind of like the brand was already big before they came there, right? And they kind of took it to another level. But man, when Bronny came over here on campus, it's just a times 100. So the brand is crazy right now, just because of all the media attention that we get, the social media attention that we get. I mean, these kids, I tell them all the time, like, I couldn't be them. Like, for me to walk down the street and be 16 years old and people know who I am, but I don't know who you are. People are always asking for something, and it ain't even just kids asking for something. It could be adults asking for something, right? And so they have to deal with that on a daily basis. So, you know, I always give them like the most respect, just how they deal with that, because I know me at that age, I couldn't deal with that. But this Sierra Canyon as a brand, I mean, the basketball program, the school, that's one thing that's great about Sierra Canyon, just the academics and the support that they get from the administrators and the people up top, right? Because they also believe that that their athletics is a reflection of their school, right? Where a lot of schools probably like to shy away from the athletic side because, you know, they got the stereotype about, you know, athletics and athletes at their school, but not at Sierra Canyon. You know, that's the beauty of Sierra Canyon, is that, you know, you could be in the classroom and the classroom could have a CEO son over there, but then also have a kid that's from the inner city, right? And they're sitting in the same classroom, getting to know each other, talk to each other, and understand each other's, like, just, you know, each other's background. And so that's the beauty about Sierra Canyon. That's the one thing I love about Sierra Canyon, just the diversity at the school and the support that everybody gets at the school, because there's also a high academics, right? A lot of people don't know the school for their basketball or just their athletics, but hey, the classroom is just as just as competitive as it is on the basketball court. And so I love that about Sierra Canyon, and I appreciate everything about that school.
And I love the fact that you said that, more so about the academics. Do you think it's intentional? Because there is this narrative is that these inner city Black kids are just, they can play basketball, they want one thing, but here we have a slew of young African-American men who are thriving academically. Is that intentional? This itself, it's like, we're going to have these athletes, we're also going to make sure that they're excelling in their academics as well.
Oh yeah, most definitely. I mean, academics, and like we talked about, basketball is probably not even the first thing that we talk about when it comes to the kids when they play on the basketball team. It's more so about their academics and their character and how they carry themselves, not just on campus, but off campus too. And so we have those type of conversations every day. And that's probably more of a conversation that we have with the guys on the team than we actually do with basketball, because we feel like if you're able to do those things at a high level, that is going to translate to the basketball court. So, you know, I tell them all the time, like, basketball is just like school, right? Right now, if you're in the basketball class, right, you got to be able to, at this time right now, we're the teachers. And then when you leave over here, it's just like, you got to do your homework. You got to do your studying. And so we talk to them about that all the time. So it's the same thing when they come into school, right? If they're great students and they do all their work, right? They ask the questions to the teachers. They're very respectful. They're respectful to their teachers, to their classmates. Most likely, they're going to be respectful to their teammates, to their coaches, and they're going to work just as hard as they do, because now you're talking about something that they love to do. And if they love basketball like they do, that part right there is easy, right? To be respectful and to work hard and to listen to a coach or to ask questions to a coach or talk to a coach. So we just feel like it translates. If they could do those things at a high level, that it will translate to the basketball court too.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Let's talk about some of those high-profile players that you talked about. Zaire Williams, Scottie Pippen Jr. now in Vanderbilt, Bronny. The name just speaks for itself. And some of the NBA players they have now with Cassius Stanley and Marvin Bagley. Talk to me about some of those players and your experience with some of them.
Well, the first thing I can tell you about all of those players is all of them are great kids. Great kids. They all come from great families. They have great support, and that's why things are kind of easy over at Sierra Canyon when they deal with the players, because there are great kids. In this world, right, when you deal with basketball, you could deal with some a-holes, right, or you could deal with some a-hole parents and stuff, but not at Sierra Canyon, like. And, let me knock on wood for that. But, we don't have to deal with none of that type of stuff with these kids, because all of them are great kids. They all know why they play basketball. They all know their reasons why they play basketball and what they're trying to achieve in their life. We're just here to help them, guide them, right, to push them beyond what they believe, what is hard work, right, and just to push them mentally and to push them to study, right, to study film. And because at Sierra Canyon, like, let's just be honest, it's not easy at Sierra Canyon. It's not easy to be a student at Sierra Canyon. It's not easy to be an athlete at Sierra Canyon. So we push these kids to a point where they feel like at times maybe they might not feel like they could reach those goals, right? But we keep pushing them. We keep encouraging them. We keep talking to them. And so it's been a pleasure from all the kids, like, man, from Marvin to Scottie Pippen Jr. to KJ Martin to BJ to Z Will to Bronny to Amari Bailey. Like, it's just been a pleasure. I've been blessed to be able to coach these kids. They probably done more for me than I had done for them, because they teach me every single day, right? Like, how I'm supposed to teach the game, or how I'm supposed to talk to people, or how I could be a better teacher, or a better just man. So they teach me every day just as much as I teach them. They probably teach me just as much.
Are you ever watching your guys in the NBA and you're saying to yourself, like, damn, I taught him that? Is it ever a surreal feeling for you?
No, it's just for me, it gets to me because I know how hard it is to try to reach that level. And to have that dream when you're like 5 years old, and that moment where your dream comes true, like, to me, that has to be like the best feeling in the world. And so to me, when I see them all the time and I see them that they're in the NBA, to me, that's the first thing I think about. Man, you guys reached a dream that you guys had since you guys were like 5 or 6. And to put in all that work and sacrifice and to reach your dream, man, that's amazing. And so that's the first thing that comes to me. It's not even about basketball when it comes to me when I see them, because, I already know that they're all like talented, but I just know from my years in my life and my experience, just to see so many people try to reach that goal and not a lot of people reach it. And you're like the 1% to reach that, man, that's amazing.
Any of the former players that you've had that's in the league or still currently playing, has any of them reached out to you for advice, just off the hardwood, or just be like, Coach, like, I want to thank you for you teaching me this because it resonated with me?
Oh, yeah. All of them. Every single one of them. Not even just in the league, but even the ones that's in college. And that's one thing that I love about Sierra Canyon too, our program, is like, it's a brotherhood. Like, we have kids. Obviously, because of the pandemic, a lot of kids couldn't come back and come, but normally every summer we have every guy from Remy Martin to Cody Riley playing with Bronny and Amari, right? And that's like a big gap, right? Because like for somebody like Cody Riley, that's his senior year, just finished off his Final Four trip with UCLA, he comes back and he sees a guy like, Bronny or or a player like we had, or Amari when Amari was in 9th and 10th grade, right? And all those guys get together and they all play in the summer, right? And obviously during the pandemic, we couldn't do that. But even during the pandemic, because we was playing so late last season, like Scottie Pippen Jr. is coming to the games, Kenyon Martin Jr. is coming to the game, BJ is coming to the game after he's done with Kentucky, Z Will's coming to the game. And so it's just like, it's really like a small fraternity when it comes to Sierra Canyon, and how all the kids can always reach out to one another, give each other advice, talk about their experience. And so that's real cool. And for myself, like, I have a great relationship with all of them. You know, I talked to BJ. I just talked to BJ last week. We're just having a conversation, just talking. Just, how your family doing? How's everybody going? How's life going so far with, you know, with your upcoming season coming? How's your workout going? So it's great. Like, I'm always keep telling you guys, like, they're great kids. They're just great kids. So just for me to talk to them and just to see how they're doing, you know, I'll always appreciate my relationship with all of them.
Coach, as we head into the basketball season here, can you just tell me 3 goals that you have for your basketball club?
One goal is to stay healthy.
That's perfect.
Stay healthy during this time, right? It's just to be healthy, make sure that, you know, all the boys is, you know, can finish this season healthy and strong, and try to reach their goals. Second thing is, you know, our goal is to always try to be the best team that we can possibly be, right? And try to reach that goal. And every single year, you know, whatever it is, try to have a championship banner hanged up. So regardless if it's the state championship or a national championship, that's our goal every single year. And then the third is just, you know, get better, you know, whatever that could be, you know, get better as an individual, get better as a team, get better as a, you know, for myself is get better as a father, as a coach, as a man, right? It's just to get better. And so we tell our kids all the time, like, we're just trying to get better 1% in everything in our life every single day. And so I would say that would be our third goal.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Last year you guys finished 30-4. Great record. The question I'm about to ask you, don't feel offended, or don't hesitate to answer the question or say the name. You know, you can name drop it. All right, you can name drop it here on our platform. Who was the hardest guys that you guys faced last year? What individual was that?
Oh, you talking about the year with BJ and G.
Yes,
Will?
That's right. Yeah.
Ooh, the hardest guy we had to, my opinion, the hardest person that we had to deal with, and probably the best player that we had to deal with, was Jalen Suggs. You know, Jalen Suggs, it was just not more so that because of his scoring ability, but it was just his leadership and how he just controlled the whole tempo of the game. You know, I wish we could have played him on a, you know, different circumstance, right? Instead of having a back-to-back in Minnesota, we played them on, because we ended up playing St. Patrick first was Jonathan Kamunga, and then the next game we played against Jalen and Chet. So I wish we would have played them on a different circumstance, but but Jalen was probably the best player that we played against that season, in my opinion, just because at his position, how he controlled the whole tempo of the game, how he got all his teammates involved, and at the same time, he got himself involved. So he was definitely probably the toughest person that we had to deal with, in my opinion, that year.
You know, that was the guy I thought about. I just wanted to hear you say it, but go ahead.
Yeah.
And how do you game plan? How do you prepare for those special type of players as you head into the basketball?
Oh man, we watch tons and tons of, you know, hours of videos. Like, it's nonstop. Like, at Sierra Canyon, we treat it like a Division I program, right? So when we got film, we break down film, we clip film. We might, at that moment in time, we probably must have watched Jalen play at least probably every game in that season leading up to our game. So we probably saw all the film that on him going to the game. So we just prepared every single day where we watching film, the coaches, the players. We clip it where we got to send film to the players to their phones, because nowadays a lot of kids like to watch their stuff either on the phone or on or on a tablet. So we just try to prepare every single day for that, and whatever weakness that we see, we try to exploit it, and we game plan to the best of our ability and try to make sure the kids are prepared, just like anything else in life, right? Make sure that just like in school, right, the teacher is trying to prepare this kid as much as he can for this lesson, and hopefully that you're studying, and so when I give you this test, that you're prepared and you're ready for this test. And that's just like us, right? We got our lessons and everything that we're trying to prepare them as much as we can, and then when we get out here for this test, for this game, we hope that you study and you got yourself prepared for this moment in time. So, because if you're not ready, it's going to show, right? So, but there's a lot to do with physical too, mentally, especially for our group of kids, because, right, we travel at that season, at that time, we probably travel more. We definitely travel more than a lot of NBA teams. We had traveled more than a lot of college teams. And we, like I said before in the documentary, like these kids are 15, 16 years old traveling that much. I was tired. So I could just imagine how tired they were. And so a lot of it has to do with just mentally and preparing yourself and how to do those type of things, right? Like, do I need to get 10 hours of sleep today because of my body? Do I got to do recovery or cupping and stretching? And what should I eat? So there's a lot of stuff that just go into it before we lead up to this game. So we try to prepare as much as we can,
You talk about special players, how you game plan for them. You have some of your special talent on your team as well. Amari Bailey being one of those top recruits, going to highly regarded by a lot of college teams. Do you just sometimes as a coach, you draw up a play and then, the defense does something good to kind of offset that? Do you just sit back and just marvel at the talent of Amari, Bronny, and some of these guys and just let them play just off of unscripted plays?
Well, at the moment in time, probably not. It's probably more so when they catch it when I'm watching film, when I'm sitting back and not in the heat of the moment. And then when I'm watching film and I was like, oh, wow, like, did you just see what this kid just did? Like, so, but Amari's a special talent. Brian's a special talent. So during the moment in time in the game, it's more so like in the heat of the moment. It's more so competitive, more so trying to play like a chess match with the other coach and team. Just trying to find mismatches during the game and making sure our guys are executing at a high level. But definitely when we're done and we're watching film and we're watching ourselves, yes, there's a moment in time when I see a couple plays on the court and I'd be like, oh my gosh, did you just see what this kid just did? Like, for sure.
I think some of the greats do that too. Coach K won't tell you, Calipari won't tell you, but and they have some of their guys just do something incredible. They marvel at that too.
Yes.
Earlier on, you spoke about the paparazzi, the media, the media scope. The eyes are all on Sierra Canyon, and obviously, in attendance, you have celebrities like Dre, like Bron and his wife, and some of these other marquee, high-key celebrities and stuff like that. How do you talk to your kids and keep them composed and not let those distractions in game get to them and things of that nature, knowing that it's like a casino when you guys
play. I think for most of the kids, maybe when it first happens, right, it's kind of a shot, or it could kind of get to them, right? And at Sierra Canyon, it's just safe to say it's pretty much star-studded just even going to just school. Even if you just get in the classroom, right? You might be sitting in the classroom and there might be Kevin Hart's son and daughter right there that you're going to school with. So I just think that the kids are kind of used to it. Obviously when it first happens, right, it could kind of be like a shock. But I think it happens so much at Sierra Canyon with the basketball program that it's kind of like the norm now. And so, from Kanye, it's not even just when that's part. I mean, shoot, Kanye used to come to the game. The Kardashian would come to the game. Big Scottie was at the game. So I just think kids kind of got adjusted to it and used to it. So it's kind of like just the norm for them now when they see Bron walk inside the gym, or when Bron have a conversation with the kids, you know, during practice, just to talk to them about just, you know, life, or Drake coming to the game and, you know, this watching and cheering for them. You know, at times they can be kind of shocked because probably Drake is probably a lot of their favorite rappers. So, right. And they're probably shocked, like, wait a minute, like, we listen to Drake, but now Drake over here cheering for us. Like, that's pretty cool and dope. So, you know, so I think the kids kind of adjust to it and used to it now, but it can be, you know, if you're not prepared mentally for that and stuff like that, it can't get to you.
It can, it really can. You guys are now, you know, in the midst of, you know, NFL season with the NBA coming back in late fall. Off of the hardwood, are you an NFL fan? Is there anybody that you cheer for growing up in Southern Cal? Are you a Raider or or a Niner?
Nah, I'm no fan of none of that. I watch it, but I'm not like a big fan of the football. You know, I'm half Samoan, so a lot of my cousins and stuff play football. So, you know, I'm just watching the football game and just cheering on. But my dad's from New Orleans, so my dad's a big Saint fan. I got cousins that play for Kansas City. So I got cousins that's really big on the Kansas City Chiefs. So my family's everywhere, but I've never been like one big fan, like, all right, yeah, I'm a Raiders fan. You know, I was all basketball, so I'm just a Laker fan from the jump. So that was just me. But my brother, he a big Raiders fan. He's a Dodgers fan. He's all LA everything. My dad and my uncles were this huge Laker fan since I was a kid. You know, my dad, like I said, my dad's from New Orleans, so when he moved out here to Cali, that was his team for basketball, but he always stayed with the Saints for football.
What do you think about the Lakers adding Russell Westbrook, the hometown native?
Oh, I love it. You know, obviously people are always gonna have they questions about, is it the fit, right? Does it fit? And I think they're gonna find a way to make things work. You know, with Bron over there. I think everybody's at a point in their career, especially the guys like Russ and Melo, like they want to win a championship. So they're gonna find whatever way to sacrifice certain things for the better of the team and help the team win. And so I think they'll find a way. I think there's probably going, like anything in life, right? It's gonna take some time to like work it out and just gain that experience and that trust to play with one another. But I think they'll figure it out. And at the end, I think they'll be the 2022 or 2023 champs. So.
Oh, so not 2021. Okay. Interesting.
Well, 2021, 2022, right? So just go into that. I'll say they'll be.
Hey, you sound confident, Coach.
You sound confident.
Oh yeah, I gotta be confident, right? I gotta rock with it, right? I can't just say, oh yeah, the Lakers ain't gonna win. Every year I'm gonna think they're gonna win, right? I thought they was gonna win last season, but you know, with the health and everything with Bron and AD, you know, that was kind of tough.
Definitely. This is actually our favorite part of the show, where we kind of get into the personal life of some of our guests and our athletes, of course. So it's a pretty simple question. It's called this or that. This is Shanice's forte. She's really good at this, so I'm gonna let her take it off.
Love this part. All right, so Coach, this or that, home games or away games?
Away games.
How? Why?
Ooh. I love away games. I love the atmosphere. I love the whole just us against the world. I love that. Like wherever we go, it's just like us against 17,000 people. Like that's the best feeling. And to come out and win and have everybody quiet. Oh man, I love that feeling. So I would take road. If we could play all our games on the road, I would love that.
That might be something to talk to AD, right? A lot more neutral site games where you get a buzzer beater and just get 20,000.
Oh yeah, because I mean, to be honest with you, even before the pandemic, like we really didn't have home games. Like we probably played 4 or 5 games at Sierra King, and then the rest of the games were at our home games were at CSUN, Cal State Northridge, so where I played at. So it wasn't like we practiced there every day or anything like that. We just we would play our home games there and then play our away games. So we was always moving.
Got you. I already know the question to this, but I'll still ask this. If you had an opportunity to be in either staff, the Clippers or the Lakers?
Oh, Lakers, man. 100%. That's not even close. To be a part of that historic franchise, right? The history around that franchise, like to be a part of that and be around that, like that would be amazing.
This or that. Kobe, so I know you're an LA guy. Kobe or LeBron? And I know LeBron's
oh, man, I don't know. I love both. Both are two different type of players. Both had two different mentality, but both are great at what they do, and both are considered. Yeah, arguably, both can be considered the GOAT, right? And I love both of them. I seen Kobe when Kobe first came to LA. When I was in high school, I attended Palisades High School. So when I was a sophomore and Kobe got drafted, Kobe lived like not even 2 miles from the school. And so every summer during that time, Kobe would be inside the gym working out, and I would be in there working out too. So I ended up meeting him during that time and had a really good relationship with Kobe when I was young, not only just myself, but my sister. So I mean, I love Kobe. Like, I mean, at that time, even when Kobe was with the Adidas and stuff, he gave my sister and I a whole bunch of stuff just because, like, he saw us. And even to this, before his passing, anytime he saw myself or my sister, he remembered us just from that time. So I always have a high appreciation of Kobe. And then Bron, for just being who he is, and I'm able to talk to him and have conversation and ask him just about just life or just business or just as a father and stuff to ask certain questions. He's always there for me. So that one's tough. I don't know. I can't choose neither one. I'm going to have to say both.
Classic bridge answer. Classic bridge answer. Here's a question for you here. This or that, being a player developmental guy or having a front office role, GM or an executive?
I would probably go with the player development just because I loved everything about basketball, being on the court, the sound of the sneakers hitting the floor, the ball bouncing, shooting, the whole X and O's, the player development, teaching them about their footwork, or shooting, or ball handling. I loved all of that, man. So it probably would be best to be a GM, to be in that front office and be able to do those type of things and move up and all that stuff. But man, it's hard for me to just not go on that basketball court. So I'm gonna say player development.
I love it. This or that, morning practice or afternoon practice?
I would say morning practice because I would like to get my day started early and like to get things out the way early. So I like to have the rest of the day where I guess to relax, or not kind of relax, but able to do other things.
Are you
the players definitely not going to say morning practice at all.
That's for sure. This or that, are you a tea guy or are you a coffee guy?
I'm a tea guy. I don't drink coffee at all. I don't like coffee. So I would just say tea. Even with that though, I'm not really high on tea
either. This or that, Nip or Snoop Dogg?
Whoo, man, you hitting me with some tough ones because Snoop is this.
He's the OG.
Snoop is a legend. Yeah, he's a legend. That's everything about Cali is Snoop, and he just took it to a whole nother level, right? Like from the rapping to, I mean, you don't even. People already know they consider Snoop just smoking weed, but that's like the norm for him, right? Like he could go in the White House and just smoke, and everybody would just be like, "That's Snoop, that's normal," with nobody looking at him crazy or nothing. But I love Nip's what he was doing for the new generation, what he was trying to do, and how he was trying to help the community, literally the community that he grew up in, that he was right down the street, and from the businesses to the real estate to his music. Like, man, that's tough. Man, that's a tough one. I would just have to go with Snoop because I would just say, you know, that's my error.
Yeah, that's my guy right there too. This or that, a hillside house at Inglewood or a beachside house at Huntington Beach?
I would just go a beachside house just because I love the beach. I love the sound of water. I love the breeze. And it's never going to get hot over there. You're always going to feel a nice, cool breeze. So I'm going to go ahead and say the beach.
You run the risk if you're on the hill, you can't come down. So I feel you.
Have you ever been starstruck by one of, you know, just someone in attendance? You're like, wow, damn, they really came to the game.
I only been kind of like that. And it wasn't even as Sierra Kane. It was with Michael Jordan, right? And it wasn't even about like starstruck. It was just crazy to see how people react towards him. Because I used to work the Jordan camp. And so every year when we worked at Jordan camp, we always had a time where we just, all the coaches and stuff would hang out with Mike and just go somewhere. And I used to just be like crazy to see how things would be blocked off and people would literally just stand there for like hours and hours just watching him just move. And it's like, you really just gonna waste 2 hours of your life just to stand and watch this man walk around. And so, but you know what's crazy too? It's like, that's Bronny.
That's
Bronny. And to me, when I see Bronny walk around at 6 years old and see people just in awe, we're literally like just stand there just to watch this kid walk up and down the hallway. And to me, it's just like crazy. Like, I can't believe it. And I always look at him and I always tell him all the time, like, man, I don't know how I could be you, man.
Was it challenging to, I guess I would ask, was it a little bit challenging to get Bron to trust you with Bronny? I mean,
I don't think so. I think just through my work, like working every single time, every single day, and then showing that I really like care for him as who he is, not as a basketball player or his name, but I actually care about the kid that he is, right? And I will always make sure that he is safe or he is fine before anything else, right? Like, maybe some people might be like, oh man, like, AB, I need you to do this and do that. Like, nah, I'm never gonna be like that. It's just like, Bronny, how you feeling today? How you doing? Oh, this is too much for you? All right. Well, here, you could go home or you can sit right here or you can have your space, right? But I just always make sure that, you know, that he just knows that I care about him. And so I think that the family know that I really care about him, who he is. And I think that's why they feel more comfortable with me being around him and coaching him and just in his daily life, right? And I appreciate that too, for myself to be able to be in that type of position, to be able to help their kid grow, right? That I could have an impact in his life in some kind of way. So
I love that.
I love that for sure. We see Bronny already getting the Kawhi rest day.
It's not really like it's just like because his knee, right? Because he just came off of his knee injury, his meniscus, and he had surgery and he came back in June. So there's times where like his knee, it just gets swollen, right? And for Bronny, like he'll push through it. He'll be like, man, I'm playing, I'm doing this. I'm like, all right, cool. But it's always asking him, Bronny, how you feeling?
Right.
How's your knee? Are you all right? Right? Where some people, right, like in our position, right, at Sierra Kane, with all the attention that Bronny gets, some people forget, right? Like, I mean, he's like let's just be honest, like he's box office, right? All the time. So some people could just feel like the pressure of like, oh, hey, you have to play because we need this type of views or these numbers or whatever. Like, I don't care about none of that. I care about you. I care about these players, these kids, and that's it. And you're not healthy enough or something's bothering you or something's going on, that's more important to me than this basketball game.
Sebby, when I tell you, when I went to the Midnight Madness, adults were swarming. I promise you, swarming, like grown men.
Oh yeah,
grown men.
It's crazy. It's crazy. It's crazy. Like I tell people all the time, it's like you can't explain the experience. You have to be there. You have to be in it to be able to understand it and see it. Like I could tell you something, like even like myself telling you, like grown people asking stuff, or even you telling him what's going on in Midnight Madness, but you will never understand it till you're there, till you see it, and that's how it is. It's crazy. Like it's crazy.
We got to make that happen, Shanice. We got to definitely make that happen sometime this year. Want to thank you again, Ed, for taking some time off of your day and joining us here today. It's been a pleasure for sure. And best of luck, you guys, this upcoming season. Nationals, state, all of your, participating tournaments that you guys got going on for you guys this season.
Oh man, thank you guys for having me. It was a pleasure. Really appreciate you guys wanting me to come on this you guys show and do an interview with me. So I really appreciate that.
I was telling Stephen, like, we gotta tap in with Coach Ed. We have to. I've been connect with you again. I know, like, we met that once. Was it that one time? But I've never came back. So I definitely wanted to have you on. I feel like you have a story away from basketball, but you do such great work with these boys, and I recognize it.
Oh no, I appreciate that. Thank you so much. Thank you.
You good.
All right, Coach, get to it. Thank you again.
Appreciate
Thank
that.
you guys. Thank you guys. You guys have a wonderful day, a wonderful week, and good luck to all you guys. Hope you guys achieve all y'all goals and dreams when it comes to the podcast, or even just in your personal life.
I appreciate that, Coach. You too. You motivate us.
Yes. Yes. That part.
Yeah. Appreciate it.
You too.
All right. Take care.